Hey!
Yay! How is everyone? We've got two already. Wow, that's unusual. Can someone say hello, please, if you can hear us?
Hello.
Hello. I'll say hello to me in Sweden. Right, that's saying that. That's saying that again. I'm going to have to share for BB3 TV. I do not know what the hell is going on. So, how is everyone? Just be in the chat if somebody could say hello and that you can hear us. That would be great. Mary, how are you, darling?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Finally, I have my holiday for 2 weeks. But still, tonight and tomorrow, the live shows. Tomorrow we going to talk conspiracy
Oh,
theories, UAPs,
yeah.
UFOs, drones. Yeah, Project Bluebeam, everything. So I'm very excited to do that because here in the Netherlands, they are all, how do I say that, very civilized, um, conspiracy theorists, but in the worst way. They're talking about clones, they're talking about experiments, reptilians who are walking amongst us. So I live in a strange country, in a weird country. Yeah, to keep saying.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, see after we've shared out and that, we can start on the old conspiracy theories. Who doesn't love a conspiracy theory? Tim, Wayne, how are you, my fine looking gentleman?
Well, I'm not liking this time of year. I'm sorry. It's
Oh, love.
cold. It's pouring and rain outside. It's dark at 4 o'clock. It can get light till 9
Oh,
o'clock.
my love.
It's pants. I want spring. I'll trade Christmas for summer, please.
Do you know
There we are.
what?
I've said it now.
I can imagine you, like Father Jack, running through the thingies like that. Dead happy. Still no one saying hi. People, if you're in the chat, please let me know if you could hear us. That would be great. I hope StreamYard's no screwing me over. How's you, young Wayne?
Yeah, not too bad. Back and hip playing up a bit today, but other than that, fine. I don't mind the winter months because it means you get to go to bed early.
I still go
Well,
to bed
yeah.
early in summer.
I sit there and I see the clock and it's like 4:30 and it's starting to get really dark and I'm like, oh, that means I can start going to bed soon. Hey, and then at 2:30 the following morning, I finally go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's even worse. See, when I used to do night shift and it used to be the summer light nights, so you try to get to sleep in the morning. It's like the sun's hitting my eyes, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
just no. Oh, mate, Mary, at least Mary found it. Hey, Mary, woo!
Mary!
Do you know Wayne
Where's
did that to
Noreen?
me? But I know, where is my Noreen? I don't know.
Probably on there
Me
by
Noreen's
now.
ran away.
You got to remember, it's
so-
getting close to Christmas. People are going out on Christmas parties.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, they
Oh.
should be tuning in with us. Start your Christmas
yeah.
parties when they're fun.
Yeah.
Stop getting drunk.
I don't know. I've had two children zonk out on the sofa, so they've gone off up to bed. We had fish and chips for dinner, and we're sitting there like, yep, okay. And now we're on wind down session. So
Oh, you'll be glad. You'll be glad. So, guys,
I'll still
what
go to bed at
conspiracy-
2:30 in the morning, though.
That sounds a bit like me. What conspiracy theories shall we start with first? There's so many.
Again?
What one
The whole damn
Can we
world
create one?
What one would you like to create?
Are we going to create?
We could create a conspiracy theory. It could be really cool.
Okay.
And all we've got to do is just say it, and it would spread.
Yeah.
Because that's how conspiracy theories work. Word of mouth, and it's so powerful
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And it
that all you've got
changes.
to do is say something.
And the
Yeah.
story changes that quick as well.
Yeah.
Until
I think we should start the conspiracy theory of why garden gnomes are outside. I think they're spying wee fuckers. I think they are. Garden gnomes really are one of those ones where you walk by and they look at you and you're like that. What are you looking at?
yeah, they
I
follow
think
you, don't they?
you've been watching too much Doctor Who, Lois.
I have.
No, I don't
That's my
know.
conspiracy.
Yeah.
Nah.
They follow you.
No, we should do stuff like I don't know. Elon Musk is going into cloning.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you think that would work?
Well, he's got the money to do it, hasn't he?
What people?
Yeah.
He's got money for the research. I mean,
Maureen!
There she
they've
is.
already looked at doing growing body parts on backs of mice, haven't they? They grew an ear on the back of a mouse.
Yeah.
Poor bloody
So
man.
there's no, possibilities are endless. But obviously, if he's got the license to do it and he's got the money, there's no
Yeah.
reason why he couldn't go into that sort of research
Yeah, but
and
you have to
and then
think
take
ahead
it
of
from
it.
there. I mean, we cloned a sheep.
Dolly.
Yeah,
Well,
we did. And
Yeah.
dogs.
That was
What-
years ago.
what if you could actually do that though? Clone yourself. Like, say, right, I made
Oh,
20
no.
of me.
We can't have two Loises, can we? God. Can you imagine? Two of them.
Listen, one Lois is wild, one Lois is quiet, one Lois is very, very brainy. That
Well,
would be
yeah.
great.
We're going to have three Loises. Oh, God.
But you'll not be saying that when I'm sitting on your couch for a cup of tea, God's sake.
No, you can't have tea. You've got to have wine if you come here.
Yeah.
I'll be like, Noreen says that there's a problem. It said live things network, but couldn't find you on there. Noreen, I have no idea what's going on. I'm going to have to discuss this with Chris. Noreen
I
had
don't know.
to wait for you
I
to
went
pop
on to
on.
Things Network and I found it straight away, and I shared it from the Things one. So
Conspiracy.
Okay.
There's a
Noreen.
conspiracy theory right there.
Aye, that is. Noreen, see for future, sweetheart, what I do is I stream it on Willow. So go on to my profile and you'll find it right away, because that's where I always stream to, because I've just realised that you can actually use your own personal profile to stream to. So it's always on Willow, guys. So talking about cloning, could you imagine that though, in all seriousness, if you could actually clone, how awesome would that be? Like
Yeah.
but you're living different lives somewhere in the part of the world. The only downside to it, I would say, is if that person becomes rogue and they get into trouble and you're on holiday in that place, now you've never ever met your clone and you're just minding your business and suddenly you've got all these charges. That's the only
Yeah.
downside I would say to cloning.
Yeah.
but it would be, but obviously there would be forms of restriction there, wouldn't there? There would have to be a marker on each clone that would determine that one from the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, something like like a Roman numeral behind the ear or something like that. So you knew that was, if you had the one behind the ear,
Yep.
that would be the first clone, and so on. But then if cloning became a sort of a regular thing, then obviously it would have to then be limited
Yeah.
to how many clones you could have. But then that would be open up to quite possibly, terrorism, cloning
Yeah.
people, things like that. It would have serious knock-on effects, and it would be similar to AI. How advanced does AI get? Where do you draw the line? And computers were the same when they first started up. You don't want a computer to be able to think for itself because you never know what it's going to do.
No.
But a computer is only
Yeah.
capable of doing what the programmer programs it to do.
We'll only end up
And-
getting Arnold Schwarzenegger will be dropping in if you do it to us, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
So
Sorry, Wayne, on you go, my love.
I think there would have to be limits to it, and I think that's why things like stem cell research is still being they're still being cautious with it all, because it could lead to so many different things.
Yeah.
Here's
But
a question, guys, that's just come into my head. You know how random I can be, right? And all this talk with aliens and everything else, and cloning and other things that go through my head, honestly, it's like you don't want to see the inside of my brain. But what do you think that humans and aliens could actually technically stand side by side and live together?
Yes,
I think it would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think we could quite easily. I made a point to my youngest daughter this morning that if we look at this planet, we have thousands of different species of animals and so on this one planet.
Millions.
But then when we look at all the possible millions of planets out there that can have life on it, we know that's no different to the different abundance of life that we've got on this planet. All these
Yeah.
different species of animal and beings on this planet all living side by side in a symbiont society to some extent. There's no reason why that can't be done on a universal scale.
Oh God,
Yeah.
aye. Oh God, aye.
agreed.
Brilliant, thanks. No problem, Noreen. Hi, Jeremy. Hey, Vonnie. Hey, Nicola. Vaughn says, I don't agree with cloning, opens up far too many problems.
Yeah.
Noreen says, was just got to say the same as Wayne. Jeremy says, do the BAL method, add the marker in each clone, then add the marker to yourself.
Yeah.
Vaughn says cloning is useful for some things, but cloning will never stop and continually because the scientists always want to try another experiment. Hello, handsome. Shane
Hello.
says we do already. Oh, and hi from the dungeon. Excuse me,
Yes.
boy. I didn't tell you could use your phone in the dungeon. Don't make me come down there. Nicola says, yeah, I do. That's what Reset's all about. Vaughn says
Yeah.
there's a lot going on behind the scenes, how far advanced they are already with cloning. Do you know what's always curious to me is how far, it's not just so much about the cloning, it's about the technology, like how far advanced the technology actually is. And
Yeah.
I'm not usually a tech person, like sometimes I don't know my arse for the elbow with the computer, but it's a fascination way. This is why I love doing podcasting, because see hanging about with you guys, see like watching the different podcasts, like things, and then obviously watching the Dark Mirror Boys, being around you guys all and gaining a bit of knowledge. You guys are turning me into a UFO. Shane says, you forgot to take it away again. You sneaky little beggar. So that's what the bit I'm curious about.
Yeah. We don't
Yeah,
need
I mean,
clones. There's
it's
already too many people on the earth. We don't need any more. God.
well, I think that's why there was all this business with the Georgia Guidestones, wasn't it? You know, it's the new one world order and need to reduce
Yeah.
everything down to 500,000 people. And that would then allow the earth to heal itself, get back to the way it should be, and you start afresh.
Yeah.
It's a system that wouldn't work anyway, because you would have to be very selective of those 500,000 people. And at some point along the line, there are going to be issues that is going to break that system.
Yeah.
All it would need is for one person to have run out of milk and go and say, you know what, I'm going to go and nick that milk. I'm going to have that off of that person. and then that will just society will just break down,
Yeah,
and
but
you'll end
you're
up with the
bringing it
same
back.
problems you had before the system
Yeah,
started.
And
It's never going to resolve itself. And Nostradamus did predict that we were going to
Bye,
venture
handsome.
off. We were going to venture off out into space and set up home elsewhere. So
and the thing is,
it's going to happen. It's just a case of when.
the government will decide who, and they're the most corrupt people of the lot.
Yeah.
yeah,
So there you go.
It's the
So
elites.
they'll still be there. They'll all still be there. The government, the scumbags.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
sorry to be abrupt, but that's it. They are.
But the thing is,
Listen,
even the elites
see it as you
will
can,
start
Mitchell.
arguing amongst themselves
Yeah.
Yeah, but
because
I
they
don't
do
see
at the
it
moment.
work.
You looking at the Houses of Parliament, and they're still bickering and arguing about who does
Oh,
what and what goes where and everything else. That's going to be no different.
they're horrible. All of
Sorry,
them.
Mary, what were you saying, love?
What?
What were you saying, love? Sorry.
If you bring it back to 500,000, you would only be talking about the richest people on earth. Then you have the 500,000 people. Who is going to work? Who is going to make sure there's meat? None of them wants to work. None of them are going to work in a store. So they're going to have a major problem.
Yeah.
Because they're all too lazy and all have a too big ego to do
Yeah.
anything. You want to be served. So 500,000, okay, go and work at Albert Heijn or some other store. Have fun.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it won't work.
I
And
totally agree with you. Which,
they're all
which
they're all going to be young as well. We're at it. I'm at it then, aren't I? They're all going to be young, aren't they? They're not going to have old fogies.
Oh,
They're not going to have old fogies stayed there, are they?
oh, listen, Tim, you could come in as my younger husband.
Okay.
Right, you're my
So,
younger husband. Robert, my love, what's your thoughts?
Well, there's never going to be a utopia like
No.
they're wanting to have with it, because exactly what Mary was saying. No one's going to want to work. No one's going to be willing to go out there and be doing stuff. They're just wanting to be isolated and be able to lay back and enjoy the rays of the sun, basically. So
Yep.
yeah, they're not gonna put themselves into different groups like worker class, middle class, high class. They're all going to be wanting to be high class.
Yeah.
And
Can you sorry, you go, love.
and
On you go, Robert. Sorry.
with the amount of people, the stones themselves may have been a way to have done that, but with destroying them, yeah, you never know. That they may have been some sort of portal to have people disappear. Well, people are still disappearing. You don't know where, but you don't know if they're being taken by up there or walking through an open portal that somebody's left behind and forgot to shut the door, basically, and just walking through and going, oh, different place. Wow, and can't get back.
They're all being taken underground to work on the hydroponic farms.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one way. Yeah.
That would be me. I would be Dittery. Can you tell me where this is? Just keep walking and you'll see it. And I would walk through the portal and go, oops. Number. One says, Mark, Wayne, Josh have really got me into UFOs. It's fascinating. One, I'll tell you a secret. The three of them have got me geeky. I blame the three of them there. One says there's already hundreds of isolated civilizations already. Nicola says something's happening now with all the drone sightings. Bonnie says, 100% very well said. Vaughn says, I agree, Robert, they'll finish up killing each other, wanting to be the hierarchy.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Because
Yeah.
the
it will
problem.
be a typical situation where one person thinks they're better than the other.
Yeah.
Of course.
And while that attitude exists, there will not be a level playing field within society.
Nope.
No,
No.
be better off without any humans at all, the Earth would.
Yeah,
Uh,
just let the
Sorry,
wildlife carry on as normal.
It would, yeah.
well, as
It
I,
would, seriously.
as I said, I always found fascinating the thing that they found at Chernobyl, at the fact that the animals have adapted to life at Chernobyl and that they're like, you know, prone to the radiation. They're
Yeah, well,
I just
the there's mushrooms or something or some sort of
yeah.
fungus
I
that's
find
eating
it
the radiation.
Yeah.
I found
Yeah.
it really fascinating because it was kind of like, sorry, that's my doorbell. In case you were like ding dong, ding dong. But that kind of gives me sort of faith in the fact that if the world had to end and we ended up in some sort of problem, we could adapt to the lifestyle and we could adapt to the surroundings around us, because I was always thought that in Chernobyl that obviously no one would be able to survive in there, no like plants, no humans, no dogs, animals, whatever. And it just shows you that you can adapt to the surroundings that are round about you. So even
Oh, yeah.
if say we lived in another planet, because I know that they're always talking, is it about Mars? About having life in Mars? Maybe we can as humans adapt to Mars.
That would be evolution that would be used on that one, and that would take hundreds of years.
Probably.
You wouldn't be able to just adapt to Mars's atmosphere because it's too thin. It would be like going up higher than Everest and going up that high without a gas mask or a respirator. You would struggle to breathe, and you just go. But they're looking at the possibility of, could it be terraformed? Because we know there's polar ice caps on Mars, which means there's water, and if there's water, there's oxygen.
Yeah.
And they also think that there's plenty of ice lakes underneath the surface of Mars. They know that there was life on Mars at one point because they've got samples from Mars that have got bacteria and small microscopic creatures floating about, fossilized in the rocks. So they know there was life there at one point. But if there's water, there's life.
Yep.
And we got ice. So, it's no different than going to Antarctica and finding bacteria and amoebas and sort of microbial life in the ice.
Yep.
It's the same thing. But it's just a case of working out how you're going to get there on an efficient budget, because it's not going to be cheap. And that was one reason why they wanted to have the moon as a staging base.
Yeah.
Because it would be cheaper to go from the moon to Mars than it would to go from Earth to Mars. So it's cheaper to go Earth to the moon, moon to Mars. And then you just ferry everything from one point to the next and so on. But that's space exploration. And at the moment, the technology hasn't quite got there, although SpaceX is pretty close with the new rockets that it's using. And they're fully automated.
Yeah.
So straight away, the cost there in human life is a lot easier because those supplies can be sent up there and assembled at the lowest budget possible.
Yeah.
But there's reasons why we haven't done it. And it's not just because of technology. There's something else going on up there we're not being told.
Yeah.
Another conspiracy.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Just talk among yourselves.
I mean, it does seem strange. It does seem strange that we have the Apollo missions, and then all of a sudden we stop going to the moon. And then there's
Yeah.
3 Apollo missions after Apollo 17 that are not registered. They're not widely publicised, but they too went to the moon. But we haven't been back since.
Yeah, why is that?
And then myself and Mark found it on the Dark Mirror radio show. We've been looking through various websites, and Mark found this Chinese website, and it actually sort of had a lot of photos, a lot of video footage of the dark side of the moon. And there were cityscapes on the dark side. There was lights in craters. There was pipe work going across the terrain on the dark side of the moon. And the following Monday, when we were about to call it out on the show, the website was taken down. It was removed completely.
No way.
So although we had the evidence, but because we didn't take any screenshots or anything like that, all we could do was write down bits of information that was on this website. And then when we went to call that website back up live on the show, it had been removed. There was no sight of it.
Oh. Vaughn
So-
says, on you go, love.
No, it's okay.
Vaughn says, that's right, Wayne, leave them to themselves. I wonder which ego would survive. Noreen says, society can't sort themselves out on this planet. I'm sure it would be the same wherever we ended up.
Yeah,
Hi, Iron Fire.
that's good.
Noreen says, whatever the human race goes, they will be just as destructive. I totally believe that. Nicola says, Wayne, I think there's already on Mars. Hey, Sarah Louise.
Sarah.
I think we are. We are very destructive as a human race,
Horrible.
and I think, see if cloning came, it could be quite a good thing, and that maybe, just maybe, they could make the human race a bit better. Doubt it, highly doubt it, very much doubt it, but it would be good to see. But can you imagine the sort of life you would have on that planet? I think it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Should we go?
We will.
No,
I'll book my
Okay.
ticket next week.
I'm going to book my ticket through Spookanori International.
I'll get my bus pass in February. Can I use that?
Aye.
That'll be the next stage, Lewis. It's Spookanori International at the moment, but then it will be Spookanori Universal.
Aye. Yeah.
Yes.
So, you guys at the bottom are very quiet. What's your favourite conspiracies?
I can't believe all this crap is going on.
Well,
What's
if
your
there's,
favourite?
there's a show that I can relate this to, The 100,
Yeah.
100.
Yes.
Yep.
where they have the station in space and they send the 100 down, and they're just kids to repopulate or
Oh,
find out
yeah,
what
yeah.
happened.
I remember now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite good.
Oh.
And for
Yeah.
some unknown reason, it turned into Lord of the Flies.
I know. They went skew-if.
But
This is
I think, in a sense, though, that did show human nature.
Yeah. it
Yeah.
did.
And, although that 100 were all on a space station together, they ended up coming down to Earth, and then they ended up going into separate factions.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there were
And that
still
just
factions
proves
down
human
there.
nature.
Yeah.
yeah.
I really, really liked, I don't know if you guys watched, right? Obviously, we were talking last night about cartoons. Well, what I discovered was that Seth MacFarlane, he always wanted to have his very own Star Trek. So he created a program. Yep. And I watched that and it makes me laugh because I think to myself, that would be me, like sitting there in the spaceship wanting to press all the buttons. Like and that's the only reason I want to go in, just so that I could ask, is it okay if I drive this thing? Like, an experience, like it gone fast, I'd be like, what? Mind my
Right.
hair.
Only if we can transport off it first.
Hey, can you imagine
I'm a good driver.
us five on as the pilots? Us five would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be great. Noreen says, I will give that one a miss. Oh, come on, Noreen. You're my right hand woman here. One says, imagine how many mutants would come out of cloning, and are cloning scary to even think? Even that's
Yeah.
scary enough just thinking about.
Mhm.
I think it would end up like Fallout, to be honest.
Well, you have
I would
a
end-
moral issue. You have a moral issue there because if you clone something and the cloning process doesn't work out properly, what are you going to do with that clone?
Yeah.
Because you're still creating a life regardless. And if
Yeah.
there's a problem with that life, you've got to do something with it. Now, what are they going to do? Just turn around and go, well, we'll just stick it in the incinerator. Don't worry about it. It's a life. You've just created a life and now you're going to bin it.
Oh,
Yeah,
what's that film?
I was just going to
You've
say
got-
that.
There's a film that they create life, and every time he's bad, they put him down the chute. It's like a yellow. Oh fuck! Stephen was watching it too. I can see it in my head.
Is that the one?
Ah,
Is that the one where they haven't got a soul? The clone hasn't got a soul, has it? Is that the same one?
I don't know. Give me 2 minutes. That's bugging me. I need to go and find out. Give me 2 minutes. You guys talk among yourselves.
I know there was Soylent Green, weren't there, when they people that were no good to society or they got to a certain age, they got turned into food for the rest of the people.
Is that Logan's Run?
No, that was
Soylent Green.
Oh,
Logan's
The
Run was-
Logan's Run was very similar. They had like a
Yeah.
life expectancy, didn't they? They
Yeah.
had a little disc in their hand.
when they got to 30, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
35, they
Yeah.
got top.
Yeah, exactly. They were
Jenny Agutter. Yeah.
Soylent Green, they ended up being food for the rest of the population, didn't they?
Mm.
Oh, I haven't seen that. But there
it's quite an old film, actually. I think it was
It
70s, 80s.
was
No,
one where they were cloned, and then they discovered that the clone hadn't got a soul, like a regular human. I can't remember what that was called, but they became kind of didn't work because they hadn't got a soul. So I don't know. I can't remember what it's called now.
73 was Soylent Green.
Well, blimey. The
Bloody
year
hell.
before I was born.
The year I was born.
Oh, youngsters. 59, me, 1959.
I must admit, I had a friend of mine came round the other day. She messaged me saying that one of her friends at work, their uncle had passed away and he had loads of stuff in his house because he didn't believe in storing money in the bank.
Uh-huh.
And he felt that anything over £15,000 the government would take. So he just kept spending it and buying stuff. And she said, I'm looking at a load of horror and science fiction stuff here if you want it. So I said, yeah, bring it round. I'll have a look and see what it is. 40 DVDs later, she's brought round, and there's things like Boris Karloff and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God, these are classics. And they're giving them away for nothing.
Jeez.
Yep.
I had a friend
Stephen
like that.
can't remember that film. One says, I'm just thinking the same, Louise. I can't think yet. Quick question and a bit of a request. Oh, Maureen, I would do anything for you, darling. Because I'm really getting into it. In the new year, can we do the Arctic Triangle subject again? Alaskan, not a problem. What I'll do is I'll schedule that in, but do the different aspects separately on different occasions, as there's so much to dive into. For you, my darling, I will do a 3-parter. How does that sound for you?
3-parter? Go on,
yeah. Tim, are you thinking of the skeleton of
Cadaver?
Uh-huh.
A cadaver's a dead body, basically.
Cadaver.
Yeah. Could
That's
be.
why I'm
Could
so
be.
confused here.
Yeah.
I can't read it.
Yeah. Could be.
Love you too, sweet. Love you too. So, Mary, what's your favourite conspiracy?
Oh, whoa! My favorite. Yeah, that's a difficult one. Yeah,
The
uh, all the UAPs and the drones here in the
Yep.
Netherlands. They sorted it out. It's Project Bluebeam. They shooting holographics pictures in the air, and they messing up our minds just to keep us busy. That's the conspiracy here in the Netherlands. It's government related. Yeah,
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep. Yep.
I love it.
As I said, do you know the thing about it is I would really love for the governments to actually open up and tell the truth. But then when you look at all back at conspiracy theories, most of them are behind it. So that if they have to admit one thing, then people are going to start questioning everything else that goes
Yeah.
around with it. So that what you're doing essentially is opening one bag of like
Pandora's
really.
box.
Well, exactly. I mean, this is what me and Mark said like a few years ago when the Vatican, the Pope had called all the cardinals in, and they had a meeting about how they were going to tell the people of the faith about beings from other worlds. How were they going to fit that into the religion?
Yeah.
So beforehand, it wasn't in the Catholic faith. Now they're trying to fit it into the Catholic faith to make people sort of more aware and that there is
Yes.
something else out there.
More
Because
compliant.
nowadays, like we said yesterday, people have now swayed away from religion simply because religion was a way of controlling people.
Yep.
And people don't want that control. They want to live their own lives in their own way and not be controlled by a central organization. And so they're spreading their wings a lot further and they don't like it. And that's the whole idea behind Project Bluebeam, is to try and bring people back to a central way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fearful because the governments and religions of the world are losing control of the people.
Yeah.
And they don't like it. And so they've got to do something to try and bring these people back. And Project Bluebeam for them is the answer. But following on from what Mary was saying in regards to the UAPs, it's getting quite funny when you look out there now at different videos and articles that are out there, because apparently the USS Eldridge came back again. Now, the USS Eldridge was part of the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah.
And it disappeared, and it came back a little while later. Then it disappeared again, and that was it. But apparently, because of all this business with the drones, apparently on some social media pages, the USS Eldridge has returned again. And not only that, Amelia Earhart's plane has been sending out an SOS from its last known location. And this has been going on since the drones came back and started showing their faces. So it just adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
And obviously we were saying yesterday about all these drones and the XP4 military spy drones and stuff like that. And this is all part and parcel of it. They're trying to push all these different stories out there so that we're so sidetracked by them that we're not seeing the real picture or see what's really going on until it's too late.
Yeah. They're doing the traditional magician type of thing. Look over here and not over here.
Sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the same as the Phoenix Lights. It's the same as they were denying the Phoenix Lights. Oh, it was just this, it was just that. Well, no, it wasn't. There was something there. Noreen says, my father told me that when he was in hospitals, the doctors were doing experiments with holograms. He was convinced. I said, Dad, I think you must have been dreaming or it's medication. He was so angry with me. He was adamant and described the holograms. And even when he came home, he was still adamant and was getting shirty with me for questioning it. And Dad also said there was 4-time bandits watching them from outside the hospital bay. My dad was such a skeptic, old-fashioned man, but he was convinced. See,
Blimey. Amazing.
that is wow.
The thing is holographic technology has come on really, really quickly. Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds on the stage tour, he uses a hologram of Liam Neeson on the stage. And I've been to see it, 5-6 times. And when it first started on stage, it was just literally a polystyrene ball on the stage with an actor that looked fairly similar to Richard Burton, but they had to put prosthetics on him to actually make him look like Richard Burton, and then they filmed him mouthing the words, and they projected that image onto this polystyrene ball on the stage. Then when Jeff Wayne did the next generation of War of the Worlds, he got new people involved. He got Gary Barlow, Joss Stone, and Liam Neeson took over from Richard Burton. Now, on the stage show, they used 3D holography. So they filmed Liam Neeson's parts and they projected him onto the stage, and he looked like he was there. And he was walking backwards and forwards. He was going round objects that were on the stage. So it was well choreographed, well filmed, and the technology there was so spot on that doing that on a large scale would be so easy to do.
Well, do you know, funny enough, right, you're going to laugh, right, for all the gamers out there, right, I've played Fallout 3 for a good while, right, and it was Stephen that's turned around and says to me, right, we were watching, because I love gamers playing and watching them, many a true nerd, and he was playing Fallout 3, and he kept saying about Liam Neeson. I was like, who's he talking about? And then Stephen went, Louise, that's who does the voice for the dad in Fallout. It's Liam Neeson. I said, really? He says, how long have you been playing that game and you didn't recognise the voice? And I was like, oh, right. I was like, no, he's not my type, definitely not. Adam Fire says it's so hard to get any real facts now. No one cites their sources. It's free for all out there. Now, Noreen says one of the holograms they said was a really beautiful Chinese woman. Well, see, funny enough, Noreen, when I was reading a book at the library the other day, I had read this story about it was this guy who had been dead friendly with an alien, and basically, like, he was memorized by her. And what happened was, every time he kept telling people, it was like she would say that she didn't know him, and then she told one of the staff there who knew about, obviously, this woman, to say that, sorry, I do actually know you, sort of thing. And I thought that was pretty cool. They think it's a made up story, but then I read it and then I'm thinking, I'm not quite sure. Really not quite sure. Iron Fire says it just might be a holographic world we're living in. Hey, you never know. Do you know my friend doesn't believe in heaven or hell and thinks really we're on a simulation?
The Matrix.
Yeah. At that same time.
Because it's quite a very good story, but also a possibility. Because if we look at the human body is every cell has got energy in it, and they reckon that if every cell in the human body was to activate its energy all at once, it would be more voltage than a lightning bolt.
Blimey.
More power than
so it's, I can't remember what the official the equation was, but each cell had so many voltage in, has so many volts in, and you then times that by how many cells there are in the average human body, and that gave you how many volts the energy would be if it all was to go at once. and it worked out that it was more than a lightning bolt.
Right.
So when you look at that, and then the story of the Matrix, and the fact that human beings are used as batteries,
Mm-hmm.
it's possible.
Mm.
Yeah.
Listen, it is amazing what we humans in the universe is like. There's a lot still to discover. There is still a lot out there to discover, definitely. Noreen says, you might be right, Iron Horse. Iron Fire says, oh, I definitely believe we're living in a simulation. Well, a virtual reality in some type, just not sure what kind. Not the kind that I would like to live in. I would love to live in Stargate. I know I'm fascinated with Stargate, but I would love to go through the gate and go whoosh into somewhere else. That would be amazing. Just jump world to world to world.
I mean, I think the actual subject of comatose patients is quite interesting, because it's where does the mind go when a person is either put into a coma, a medical induced coma, or whether it's through an accident they've ended up in a coma. Where does the subconscious go to? Where does that brain go? Where, the thought processes and everything else, because you're being kept on life support or whatever, where does your consciousness go? And they say, obviously, when you're on, you sort of, at the moment that you pass away, you go through a tunnel and your loved ones at the other end, or you pass on to a different realm. And, so many different theories of what happens when the physical dies. So could it be, that something similar happens with a comatose patient? They go to a different realm and then come back. And I think research into that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
It would be. I definitely will do that as a subject. I'm fascinated with that theory as well. Yep, definitely, Nicola. But no, it's true what you're saying, man. It is. It's one of those ones. Where do you actually go? Like, my sister was in a coma, and she's not the first person that I've heard saying that she could see things. Like, it was like she could see round about her and everything. And you hear a lot of stories where people will have out of body experiences. They will see themselves, they will see their loved ones. You've had people that have never been interested in, astrology, psychic or anything, and then they become psychic and being able to tell you all this stuff. You see a lot, and it really makes me wonder what goes on in the actual other side.
Well, there are those, and then there are the ones that get trapped in the body, like in the film clip for Metallica's One, where he was just in the war and got all his limbs blown off, and he was trapped basically in the thing covering his face, and all he could end up doing was doing the Morse code with help me and SOS, and he was basically trapped in the body and couldn't go anywhere. But there are others that can, so it's a 50-50 potluck draw basically of who can get out and who can stay.
Definitely is. What about you, Mary and Tim? What's your thoughts?
If you talk about those people who were in coma, some do remember loved ones sitting next to the bed, what they were talking about. So they are partly in this world. And some go further and see the doctors who operated on them and could explain how they looked and what they did. So it's a very interesting material.
It definitely is. What about you, Tim?
I don't know about the coma, but I know I've been, well, 3 or 4 times I've had a dream when I've been dreaming just to sleep. And I've had messages come through. I think I've told you before, haven't I? For instance, a couple of weeks ago, my niece, who lives down in Sussex, she's got a fella. She's been with him for a couple of years, but his mother committed suicide when he was 3, back in the 60s. And she sent me, I do drawing and that for people, for the view. And she sent me this photograph. She wanted to have it drawn for him for Christmas, but it
Yeah.
was awful. It was an awful photograph. Obviously, 60s photo done on film that's like 50 years old. And look, I went to bed, and the voice came in. I had this voice come into my head. Don't draw that picture. It's awful. Tell so and so. I can't remember his name now. This was Kev's brother. Tell they still lived in the same house. Go to the loft. There's loads of pictures in the loft, in the corner, in the box. So I got up the next day, and I thought, do I say anything? You know, it's just a dream.
Yeah.
I did. I messaged Claire and I told her. Didn't hear nothing for a few days, and then she sent me a message and said they went up into the loft and found a box in the
Sorry,
corner.
guys. Give me 2 wee seconds. You just carry on.
They found photographs of her in the loft, which was quite weird, and got some nice photos. Sent me another photo, and I'd done the drawing, and touch wood, I think she's happy with it because I've not had no more messages, but I've had quite a few of those over the years. You know, messages I've given people that have been accurate. Her name was Lucienne, and she told me her name was Lucy, so maybe that was for short. I don't know, but so I've had quite a lot of those over the years in dreams. Not so I don't know much about coma, but yeah, dreams. Yeah.
But I mean, that's all part and parcel of the subconscious, though, isn't it? You know, when your physical's in a state of rest, the mind is still ticking over, and the mind is still thinking. This is why they try to say to people, don't go on your mobile phones or play games on your phone before you go to bed, because your brain continues to think because of what you were doing. You need to wind down to allow you to get into that REM sleep a lot quicker. And I think when you start, when your mind is over thinking, that's when you tend to have the restless night's sleep, because you just lay there and your thoughts are still in your head and you haven't had a chance to get rid of them.
Oh no.
So that eventually when you do get into that REM sleep, that deep sleep's there, that section of sleep is going to be very short because your brain hasn't wound down enough.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite intriguing as to, you know, out of body experiences. When somebody's in a coma and they say, you know, bring a family member in because they may respond to your voice.
Yeah.
But the spiritual side of that physical, where is that going? You know, is it staying in the room, or is it, you know, going off 1,000 miles on holiday or something? Or what's it doing?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I feel like if I was ever in a coma, I would be standing there bashing the bars of a jail cell or something. You know, let me out. I want to get out of here. I don't want to be in it. So I feel as if I would be if I was in a coma.
Yeah.
And I think it would be intriguing to see what happens with the actual spiritual side of a person when that situation is induced.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be pretty cool.
Very interesting.
It would. Yeah, it would.
But I think this is one of the biggest issues we have, is we got a habit now of looking in the wrong directions. You know, rather than looking at things closer to home and solving problems closer to home and everything else, we seem to be hell-bent on getting away from here. You know, we've got space exploration, yet we don't even know half of what this planet's got.
No.
Yeah.
You know, we're wandering away from it, and we don't know what treasures, what sites and things that are yet to be discovered on this planet We're going to leave
No.
them behind because for some reason, we're hell bent on going somewhere else in the universe.
Yeah. They reckon we know more about the moon and space than we do about our own planet, don't they? Like
Well,
beneath the ocean
NASA,
in Alaska,
Yeah.
all of Alaska's not been explored.
no, we don't know the full extent of Antarctica because at one point when
No.
it was all the continents were Pangea,
Yeah.
Antarctica didn't have any snow or ice on it.
No.
No.
So what
We're
is
not
under
allowed
that
to go.
snow and ice?
We're not allowed to go. Nobody's allowed to go to Antarctica, are they?
Only scientific teams and the military security teams are allowed there.
Why is that?
Well,
It
they're hiding
was
something.
an agreement that was signed that nobody was to own Antarctica. You can go down there, I think, on a tour, but it's expensive and it has to be you have to be security vetted. And I think there was a group of flat earthers went down there. They each paid £30,000 each, and they were going down there to try and prove that the flat Earth theory was right. Only they took a 24-hour time-lapse video and shot themselves in the foot because they noticed that the sun was there 24 hours a day.
Are you talking about the final experiment?
If you can call it that.
Well, right, I'm going to quickly go through these comments, guys. Quantum jumping, you and me in a sledge. Noreen says, my good friend Anthony Peake has written some fascinating books on the subject. He amazes me. He's done a lot of podcasts and interviews on YouTube. Check him out. We're meeting up with him at the end of the month. He's popping down from London and we're having a catch up. Ironfire says it's all in our heads, literally, I think, with a built-in virtual reality headset, but who knows?
Yeah.
Noreen says, I've had experiences like that, Tim. It's amazing. I never know if I've gone into a trance or normally gone to sleep.
Yeah.
Good be. Ironfire says, yeah. Noreen says, I've also had a really traumatic, painful experience, and I just checked out and I thought I had gone to sleep, but apparently I had my eyes wide open, but I remember nothing, felt nothing, was strange. That's happened to me as well, Noreen, and believe me, it's scary. Our brain is an amazing thing we know so little about. Ironfire says, I was looking forward to discussing things like that with my daughter after she awoke from a coma, but she didn't make it. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Ironfire Horse, I'm
sorry.
really, really sorry.
Yeah.
Nicola says, we only know about everything what they tell us. Even at that, some of it's made up anyway.
Yeah.
But I am interested in the final experiment. Now, I watch a lot of flat earth stuff now. I'm not going to sit here and make out that I understand it because I don't. But there's some of the flat earthers, like, I like watching both sides. There is a lot of the flat earthers, I think, that are just plain bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Some of the rants, I'm kind of like that. Though I've got a soft spot for one of the flat earthers because he's just so funny. He starts with the same saying all the time. It's funny. But they're gone daft over this final experiment. And as Wayne's saying, I've heard a lot of them that are now eating our words and still trying to debunk the fact that there is proof that there's no flat earth. And they're still finding ways to try and debunk it. If you're ever looking for a good channel to watch that has debates, it's a guy that's called Fight the Flat Earth. FTFE. He's brilliant. He is brilliant. I watch him, Simon, Dan, Creaky. It's good. There's other ones out there as well, but the problem is some of these YouTubers are now moving to sovereign citizens. They're covering sovereign citizens, and oh my god, I shouldn't laugh, but it is quite funny. I'm a round farter myself. Well, Oh, round Earther, you mean? Oh, Iron Fire, you wee.
I mean,
I
one
think
of the
you were a
latest,
man there, what you do privately.
one of the latest ones is if you look or watch a ship leave a port and head off into the horizon, you will slowly see it sink. Okay, so as it goes over the horizon, you see less and less of it as it drops over the other side of the horizon. That's a bit of a giveaway as to the fact that we're on a sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that we're a ball is the fact that this ship appears to be sinking.
Yeah.
It's not sinking; it's going round the Earth. But the problem is they're adamant that their maths are all wrong. They're standing there saying that, and they did it with a laser. And they said, "Oh, if I stand here with the
wow.
laser and have the
Yeah.
receiver at this end, then the laser will hit the receiver." So they tried it, and yeah, sure enough, it did. But then someone turned around to them and said, "Yeah, but if you go another 5 miles away, it will miss." And sure
Do
enough,
you
they
know?
went 5 miles further, and when they activated the laser, it went straight over the top of the receiver. And he went, "Right, that's flat Earth. That's that out the window. Flat Earth is gone because that laser has gone straight over the top of the receiver."
Yeah.
So there's so many things that prove flat Earth wrong than anything
Well,
else.
I'll tell you what, guys. Next year, definitely. I mean, we'll grab it by the balls because I've already done the Vatican. So I might as well.
Grab it by the ball. I like it.
Yeah, grab it by the ball. Did you like that one? Right. Right. Oh my God. Grab it by the. I leave my phone in 5%. Thanks. Grab it by the balls and let's do it as a subject next year, definitely, because we did the Vatican and I really, really did enjoy that night we did the Vatican. It was a really, really good one. And we will do a second part of the Vatican because we kind of got sidetracked with everything. And then we had a special guest who came on and we were good all night until the special guest came on and cracked a joke. Remember that with Ben?
We may have a problem with that though next year.
Yeah.
Why is that, my love?
Because one of the other conspiracy theories that are going about is that on Christmas Day, the Pope is going to be going down to the vaults of the Vatican and he's going to be opening a portal to God knows what.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Apparently.
well, it's better than looking at his porn collection. I still can't get you over the wow. I wasn't expecting that. But Noreen says, "Isn't there supposed to be a live coming up from the Vatican?"
Yes.
I've heard
There is
that.
supposed to be a live. There is supposed to be a live camera going to be going at the same time, but
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
in
think
that
so.
case,
I just think the Pope has said, you know what, we're going to open this room and we're going to have a live camera in here so you can see what's in the Vatican vaults.
see, to be honest, I really want to go and see this collection of the popes because I want to see how many Debbie Dundalis there was. I want to see how many chapters.
I reckon there's a lot of gold down there.
Hey, Merry Christmas, sweetheart. But definitely, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to my team. Thank you for Robert coming on the last couple of nights.
Yep.
Doesn't realise that I'm going to kidnap to put him in my dungeon. He's came in a couple. It is a nice dungeon. At least you appreciate it, sweetheart. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, lots of toys down there.
Shh. You weren't supposed to tell him, Debbie.
Everybody
my toys down in my down the Vatican. I mean, down my wall. What did you expect to be in that?
50 Shades of Pope.
Wow.
Well, there's a reason he has such a big hat.
or a big sack.
Ho, ho, ho.
That's why he wears
But
it.
guys, that's why. But guys, I really, from the bottom of my heart, guys, thank you very much to everyone in my team, all the networks that I stream across, all the viewers who come in and watch. I would even say Merry Christmas to the trolls, just because I love it. But this year we have grew to some strength, and I really couldn't have done it without having the people who have backed me from the beginning. And I really couldn't, I mean that for the bottom of my heart, I couldn't have done it without you guys. And I really, really appreciate it. I cannot wait to 2025. And thank you, you guys, the viewers. If anybody is feeling lonely at Christmas, please feel free to PM me on Willow Morgan. I will be around. I know how sensitive people can be at this time of year. I just want to say a special Merry Christmas to Noreen. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. She's like our mascot.
Legend.
She is an absolute legend. Before I round it up, guys, though, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Is it 9 p.m? In fact, I'm going to let Mary tell you because it's Mary's show.
Tomorrow, 8 p.m. UK time and 9 p.m. Dutch time, we'll be talking more about Project Bluebeam, the drones, the UAPs, with Wayne and Lois, and of course my partner in crime, Shane, in the dungeon.
That's if he's a good boy. He starts his nonsense. Good night, Sarah Louise. Have a good weekend, love. Noreen says, don't be away too long. I'll miss you all. Oh, 3 weeks, Noreen will be back. Howie says, top parts. Hiya, Howie. But happy Hanukkah, happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all that. Everybody, have a good one. Definitely. And check out Mr. Seaton, whatever direction he is. Oh, wait, no, I'm pointing the wrong way. He's that way. That way. Aye, well, Robert can do it for me. Robert's pointing up the way for me. Check out Wayne's special Christmas Eve reading.
Yes, it'll be a live reading of Christmas Eve ghost story, rekindling the old tradition of reading a ghost story on Christmas Eve. It's going to be 10:30 on my group, which is Wayne Seaton Presents Spookinori. It's a piece called, or it's a short story called Timepiece. About a little boy that discovers his grandfather's pocket watch.
Wow.
Sounds good. Oh,
that'll be 10:30 on Christmas Eve UK time.
Definitely, guys, check out. Iron Fire says, this sub to Mary, love to y'all. Noreen says, and hit the bell, says Iron Fire. I love her. Have a great Christmas and New Year, and everyone stay safe. Same to you, darling. Give wee Jack a big squeeze for me. Merry Christmas to you too, Sarah Louise. And all the networks out there too, guys, have a very good Christmas and stay safe. Get drunk, get merry, have as much food as you want. Fuck the diets. You guys should comment on here so we can subscribe to your channel. Definitely, Iron Fire. Bye, everyone.